are back with another video. Before we get into the video, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Now, even though Megan refollowed Gorilla Glue on Instagram after, Gorilla posted that Instagram post and showcased Tory's music by supporting him subliminally, it looks like there's still issues because Gorilla is throwing subliminal shots on Twitter. She reposted a tweet saying, "I don't do childish ass attitudes and friendships. I'm not your N-word." She also said, "MFs just gonna have to be mad. I really don't give an F." And she responded to that tweet that she really made in April. She responded and said, "Exactly, he." So fans are saying that Gorilla Glue is basically calling Megan Thee Stallion childish for unfollowing her and then refollowing her, which she did do. And she's calling her childish for being mad that she posted that repost on Instagram with the Tory Lanez song playing in the background. Now, allegedly Gorilla Glue was trying to apologize to Megan Thee Stallion behind the scenes, but maybe she feel like now she don't have to kiss ass, even though you was kissing her ass. You try to act like you wasn't throwing shade. Now it looks like you are. Which side are you going to stand on, Gorilla Glue? This is why I don't respect a lot of the female rappers. They throw rocks and then try to hide their hand. Gorilla Glue is doing that. Okay? She's like sneak dissing Meg, but then trying to act like she's not sneak dissing. And that is the fans. Why would you repost that you don't like childish people or childish friendships when everybody feels like you're beefing with Meg? This is the wrong time to repost something like that. It's petty. Now, moving on to Cardi B. As I told you guys a few days ago, Cardi B is basically shelved at Titanic Records. And with that being said, fans are begging for Cardi B to be unshelved so she can drop her sophomore album. A fan said, "Dear Titanic Records, Cardi B is the top 5 on the list of your best-selling artists. So why is her sophomore album being delayed? This question is directed at you guys because as a label, you make the most decisions when it comes to albums. It is only right that you approve whatever she needs for her sophomore album. The success of her debut album changed the game. She is still in high and can sell. A new album will bring her lost and angry fans back to base. Thank you." Oh my goodness, the delusional. They really think that Titanic Records cares about Cardi B's second album. They only really propped up Cardi B to try to take Nickiminaj out, and that failed. So that's why there's no use for Cardi B. Now, another fan clowns Cardi B because she posted a video talking about why her album is delayed. And a fan responded and said she want to sell 200 so bad, like, girl, just flop and move on. Now, if you don't remember, Cardi B posted this video on why her album was delayed and said it was because of bundles that she's trying to finesse and get payola for so she can do 200K first week.
Weekend. We're going to have a good weekend. Oh, y'all, and by the way, I know y'all been asking me about my album, but right now, when it comes to my album, I don't let y'all know it's not my fault right now. Like, right now, it's not my fault. Right now, it's really, 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 really not my fault. Well, it kind of is, but it's kind of not, because it's like, I'm going to talk about it when I put the announcement out. But, like, I'm trying to get everything at the same time. This bundle should be annoying. I'm not even going to lie. This bundle should be annoying. Like, it got so much bullshit, and people just be fucking, I don't know, like, I that's why I don't like depending on other people for certain things. Now, I'm not talking about artists, I'm talking about, like, with these bundle stuff, but it's coming out great. I really wish I would have done the fucking album announcement last week when shit was hot, but you know what I'm saying, I can't do nothing about it. Don't put this on Twitter neither. Like, it's like, if y'all gonna talk about it, talk about it in the group chat. But yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Titanic knows Cardi B is not going to sell 200,000 organically, and they wanted her to surpass Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj did what, 228 for Pink Friday 2, and they took 100K sales away, so she really did 3. But with that being said, that's why she needs the bundles to sell first week. Now, if you don't know what bundles are, bundles is when you combine music with merch and vinyls and earrings and socks, so that way they will use the merch as sales towards the album. Travis Scott did that. Nicki Minaj called him out for it. And the Chirp Says Racist is known for doing it. Okay? Plus, she'll put out like 100 different versions of one album. So Cardi B is trying to use that. She's trying to use merch and socks and earrings and hair. She's going to try to use all of that to sell 200,000 first week instead of it just being about the music, okay? Now, I'm all here for vinyls. A lot of artists do that. Vinyls is music, but when you try to combine merch and music, that's not what I'm here for, because I feel like that is finessing of the charts. So because Titanic knows she won't outsell Nicki Minaj, that's why her album is being delayed. Until they figure out how she can outsell Nicki, Pink Friday 2, that album probably never coming out. And that's just the honest truth. Because it don't take 8 years to put out a second album, and you don't need bundles to sell an album if you that girl. Okay? No shade. She's the only female rapper that talking about bundles and doing everything else instead of just dropping. Scratch all drop all the time, and she flop all the time. She don't care. She continues to drop. If it's really about the music, drop and stop worrying about the charts. Now, moving on to Scratch Off. Scratch Off is getting dragged for working with, I think it's King Combs' girlfriend. I think her name is Raven or something like that. Well, she got a clothing line. And, she has collaborated with Scratch Off. She's making poom poom shorts and tight t-shirts. A lot of people do that. I guess if you put body on the shorts, people will buy them. I don't get why. But with that being said, fans are calling Scratch Off out for working with Raven, because Raven is King Combs' girlfriend, and as we know, King Combs is the son of Diddy. So fans are saying, on top of the fact Raven trifling ass is always with abusers, no thanks. Okay? So fans do not want to support this line. Now, here's the thing with Scratch Off. She never makes good business deals, I feel like. I'm like, why would you want to work with an Instagram model to sell some clothes, some poom poom shorts? I mean, you could have done that on your own. Then on top of that, you're working with somebody that's associated with Diddy. This girl is slow. But then again, she with a married man, 21 below average. So, she doesn't have good judgment, and that's why her career will continue to flop. Now, moving on to Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber has unfollowed Champagne Thickums on social media. He also was caught throwing shade at Champagne Thickums before he performed at the GNX tour with SZA. He posted an owl and had SZA I Hate You playing in the background. Now, if you guys remember, he also ignored Champagne Thickums when Champagne Thickums was begging for a collaboration a few weeks ago. Now, a lot of people want to know, why is he doing that? Why is he shaming Champagne Thickums? They're both from Canada. Champagne Thickums used to mess with Hailey Baldwin. And so, allegedly, Justin, he hasn't liked Champagne Thickums since then. Even though Champagne Thickums messed with Hailey before she was married to Justin. But I think with Justin, because he's a known cheater, he cheated on Selena, he cheated on Hailey. I think he don't like when the woman that he's dealing with has other men in his circle that used to deal with her. He might not want to be friends with Champagne Thickums because he's like, you slept with my wife. That could be what it is. But with that being said, I feel like Justin's a little bit of a hypocrite. Because it's like, you get to do whatever you want. You get to kiss SZA on her hand, flirt with all these women on social media, and Hailey never says nothing. You mad about something that happened in the past, kind of corny. But then again, Champagne Thickums cannot be trusted. He's known for sleeping with people's women. Now, moving on to Clarissa and Remy Ma. As we know, Clarissa and Remy Ma are beefing. That's Papoose' new girlfriend. And now she's trying to bring Nickiminaj into it, which I don't really understand. What does Nicki have to do with this? So, unfortunately, Clarissa, she is receiving 50,000 lashings for the day. She posted a DM she sent to Nicki being thirsty, talking about, you should come to my next fight. Girl, sit the F down. Just because you look like Floyd Mayweather doesn't mean that you are. Let's be very clear. Nobody is running to see you box except Papoose. Nobody cares. And Nicki Minaj should not involve herself with the ratchets. She ended Remy Ma's career years ago. She doesn't really need to interact with anybody just because they beefing with Remy Ma. Like, leave Nicki Minaj alone. Anytime she be petty, y'all complain. Leave her out of the drama. It's unnecessary. Now, Cardi B gets humiliated yet again. A girl named Nelly, she, I guess, used to date Trippie Redd, or maybe currently is dating Trippie Redd since Stefon is with Cardi B. But anyway, she got Stefon Diggs' name tatted on her, okay? And allegedly they used to mess around like last year, maybe a little bit before Cardi. Here's my thing with Cardi B. I feel like Stefon, he's a hoe. I feel like he might be worse than Off the Cheat. You know, I feel like he moved reckless, but Cardi B just don't say anything because he hasn't publicly claimed her. I think that's why she hasn't really said anything. Like, Off the Cheat used to claim Cardi B. Like, Stefon, he don't really claim nobody. Ever. He didn't claim Carisha. He didn't claim the Sky girl that he was dating. He don't claim nobody. And I think he does that on purpose so he can cheat. But what I noticed is, like, she allowed Stefon to get away with things that she used to complain that Off the Cheat would do. Now, I understand she was married to Off the Cheat. She's not married to Stefon. But I'm like, what happens if he knock you up just like Off the Cheat did? Okay, because I bet you he hitting that. So what happens if he knock you up and you got a baby with him, and then he starts sleeping with other women? What you gonna do then? I don't want you crying on live. You better not start that. When he do you dirty and dog you out publicly, don't start crying on live and talk about, oh, niggas ain't shit. Nope, because you was warned. I'm like, Stefon Diggs is an L. He's not a W. You know, Russell Wilson would be a W. Okay, but you can't get a Russell Wilson because you were a hoe and you was a stripper. Sierra was not. So you will never be able to get a Russell Wilson. You can try, but you're going to have to settle for the Stefons and the Off the Cheats and the rappers and the trappers because they're the only one that really want to pipe you down. The guys that really got something going for themselves and truly are family men, they do not want to be bothered with no Cardi B. So with that being said, you know, she don't have no album and eventually she ain't going to have no man because when Stefon leaves her, she going to be crying on live like she was before with Off the Cheat. Now, moving on to Gorilla Glue, fans are warning Gorilla Glue that if she goes against Megan Thee Stallion, that it could affect her career, especially since Megan is part of Devil Nation. Now, a fan said, do Gorilla not realize she doesn't quite have a stan base yet, and that a lot of her fan base is comprised of Megan fans and a multitude of female rap stans. IDK, why she trying to alienate hotties and Meg fans, or why she acting like her not being cool with Meg isn't going to hurt her. Wow. So that's what a lot of the Megan Thee Stallion fans feel, that, you know, her going against Megan Thee Stallion will affect her career. Now, here's the thing. I think two things could be true. I feel like Gorilla might lose some support, okay? But I don't think it's going to be necessarily because Megan just dropped a record and y'all let it flop. Let's be very clear. Megan dropped whenever, and her albums don't even sell a lot. She be doing 60K, 50K first week. Her not getting Megan's support from her fans is not really going to drastically affect her. Most of Gorilla's support is from males and the general population. You got to think about a lot of men listen to Gorilla Glue. And, she's not super feminine and she got that deep ass voice. She'll continue to have their support. They don't care about her falling out with Megan Thee Stallion. Okay? She's not Doechii. Doechii definitely might lose some support because of the umbrella situation and the fact that she said, that men were red flags, so she got to appeal to the gays. But with Gorilla Glue, her support is mostly from males and the general public. Okay? The only time the female rap stans won't support Gorilla Glue is she link up with Nicki Minaj. Let's be very clear. Okay, Megan Thee Stallion fans barely buy her music. So I'm sure Gorilla Glue is not stressing about losing Megan Thee Stallion fans. They're so delusional that they think that they can affect things when they really can't. Okay? Because when it's time to support your own fave, y'all don't do it. Now, moving on from that, Queen Bee's Cowboy Carter tour becomes the fastest tour to gross over 100 million in history with 9 shows. This is happening 28 years into her career. Congratulations to Queen Bee. I'm not really shocked. Everybody's tour is pretty successful. SZA and Kung Fu Kenny's tour. I haven't been paying attention to the weekends, but I'm pretty sure his tour is successful too. He's doing a stadium tour. So, these artists, they're icons. So, of course, everybody gonna sell out. Next year, when it comes to touring, it might be a little bit boring because all the hot artists are going on tour now. I mean, I don't even think people would care about anybody else going on tour, except maybe the chart-obsessed racists. Now, moving on to Champagne Thickums. He is teasing a new album called Iceman, okay? And he's also teasing a collaboration album with Gordo. I think that's like some sort of DJ producer. He told the fans that he would see them this summer. Here's my thing with Champagne Thickums. Didn't you just release an album? That's why I feel as though the decline of Champagne Thickums happened. You oversaturate. You just released an album with Party Next Door. Now you talking about releasing an album with Girdle. Then you talking about doing a solo album and dropping that all in the same year. That just means that you just not satisfied ever. I mean, how many albums can somebody drop? Back in the day, it used to be like one album at least a year. Okay? Not 3. And so with that being said, I feel like Champagne Thickums knows that he's on the decline and he's in a 360 deal. That's why he continuously drops albums. I'm like, we don't need another album for you. Even the Party Next Door album, I was like, okay, it came and went. And the only major hit was Nokia. And to be quite honest, that didn't even go number 1. Usually you would go number 1 instantly. Let's talk about that too. So I feel as though you need to take a break. He doesn't realize that he needs to take a break, or maybe contractually he feels like he can't because he signed that 360 deal for like $400 or $500 million. But at the end of the day, I just feel like he oversaturates. You got to wait for people to really miss you. And that's the problem he's having now. It's like he drops too much. We don't need an album for you. We just don't. Okay, like, you ready to drop the Party Next Door album. And the thing is, a lot of the songs on that album are probably going to be on the next album that he dropped. It's not like it's going to sound dramatically different. His sound is usually the same. The topics are usually the same. He going to be talking about bitches and hoes, clubbing, girls wanting him for money. The same 5 topics. Like, just sit down, please. But anyway, I got some very hot tea on Patreon. Link will be in the description. And have a great day.